It was just a normal Saturday afternoon, and my parents had sent me to the store to pick up a few things. I didn't mind. I actually enjoyed going my own and exploring the vast aisles of the store. Little did I know, this trip would be far from enjoyable. I walked through the automatic doors and made my way through the shopping carts. As I pushed my cart through the store, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But as I went down the first aisle, I saw a figure out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but there was no one there. I started to feel uneasy, but I told myself to just focus on getting my shopping done. As I continued to make my way through the store, I noticed that there were hardly any other customers around. This was strange. The Walmart was usually bustling with people on a Saturday afternoon, but this time, it was eerily quiet. I tried to brush it off, but I couldn't shake it off, the feeling that something was off. As I reached to the back of the store where the electronics section was, I heard a strange noise. It sounded like someone was whispering my name. I looked around, but there was no one there. I started to feel a chill run down my spine. I quickly grabbed my items on my list and made my way to the checkout. But as I approached the front of the store, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The store was completely empty. The shelves were bare, the lights were flickering, and there was an eerie silence that hung in the air. I couldn't believe in my eyes. Just a few minutes ago, the store was packed with people. Where did everyone go? I started to panic and look around for an employee, but there was no one in sight. I grabbed my phone to call my parents, but there was no signal. I was completely cut off from the outside world. I felt a knot form in my stomach as I realized that I was alone in this abandoned Walmart. I decided to make my way to the exit, but as I turned to leave, I saw someone standing in the middle of the aisle. It was a tall figure dressed in all black with a hood covering their face. I froze, unable to move or speak. The figure slowly started to move towards me, their footsteps echoing through the empty store. I could feel my heart racing and my palms getting sweaty. Just as the figure was about to reach me, the lights flickered and went out. I let out a scream and closed my eyes, too afraid to see what was going to happen next. When I opened my eyes, the figure was gone. I took that as my cue to get out of there as fast as I could. I ran towards the exit, pushing my cart in front of me. But as I reached the automatic doors, I realized they wouldn't open. I tried pushing them, but they wouldn't budge. I was trapped. I turned around and saw that the figure was now standing in front of me. This time, I could see their face. It was twisted and contorted, with an evil grin plastered on their face. I let out a blood-curdling scream as the figure reached out to grab me. But just as their hand was about to reach me, the lights flickered back on and the figure disappeared. I was left standing there, shaking and terrified. I started to bang on the doors, desperate to get out. After what felt like hours, the doors finally opened, and I ran out of the store as fast as I could. I didn't stop running until I reached my house. I was panting, out of breath, and I could feel relieved to be out of that nightmare. I told my parents everything that happened, but they didn't believe me. They thought I was just making up a wild story. But I knew what I saw, and it was the most terrifying experience of my life. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that twisted figure in my mind. I couldn't shake off the feeling that it was still out there, waiting for its next victim. The next day, I convinced my friends to go back to the Walmart with me. I needed to prove them that I wasn't making things up. But when we got there, the store was back to normal. It was filled with people, the shelves were stocked, and there was no trace of the figure I saw the day before. My friends laughed at me and teased me for being scared for a simple trip at Walmart. But I knew the truth. I knew what I saw, and I knew that I never wanted to step foot in that store again. To this day, I still get chills every time I pass by that Walmart. I never went back, and I never will. I don't know what happened that day, but I do know one thing for sure. Walmart will never be just a normal store to me again.